All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Gunmala Kapoor. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives clarion call for decisive fight against terrorism, says President Trump stands solidly with India in battle against terrorism. Addressing Indian-American community at the Howdy Modi event in Houston, Prime Minister says, decision to abrogate Article 370 caused trouble to those who cannot handle their own country. India and the US set to see new history in the making, says Prime Minister. President Trump lauds Modi government's economic reforms, says the US stands by India as its true friend. First ever Indo-US tri-services exercise to be held in November. Voting for Assembly by-elections of Dantewada in Chhattisgarh and Hamirpur in Uttar Pradesh begins. And in cricket, South Africa beat India by 9 wickets in the final T20 International at Bengaluru. Level 3-match series 1-all. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a clarion call for a decisive fight against terrorism and its proponents. He was addressing the historic Howdy Modi rally of 50,000 Indian Americans at Houston's NRG Stadium, where US President Donald Trump joined him in a rare gesture of friendship. The Prime Minister said, the time has come to wipe out the menace of terrorism. Without naming any country, he said the whole world knows who is aiding and abetting terrorists. Mr. Modi said President Trump stands solidly in the battle against terrorism.
ये वो लोग हैं जो आतंक के समर्थक हैं, आतंक को पालते पोसते हैं। उनकी पहचान सिर्फ आप नहीं, पूरी दुनिया अच्छी तरह जानती है। अमेरिका में 9/11 हो या मुंबई में 26/11 हो, उसके साजिशकर्ता कहां पाए जाते हैं? अब समय आ गया है कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ और आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा देने वालों के खिलाफ निर्णायक लड़ाई लड़ी जाए.
Mr. Modi said India's decision to nullify Article 370 has caused trouble to those who cannot handle their own country.
देश के सामने 70 साल से एक और बड़ा चैलेंज था, जिसे कुछ दिन पहले भारत ने फेयरवेल दे दिया है. आप समझ गए? आर्टिकल 370 का आर्टिकल 370 ने जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख के लोगों को विकास से और समान अधिकारों से वंचित रखा था. इस स्थिति का लाभ आतंकवाद और अलगाववाद बढ़ाने वाली ताकतें उठा रही थी.
Referring to the Howdy Modi event, the Prime Minister said the presence of US President Trump and all the senators talking about India's progress is a respect to the achievements of 1.3 billion Indians.
इस अपार जनसमूह की उपस्थिति केवल एरिथमेटिक तक ही सीमित नहीं है. एक नई हिस्ट्री बनते हुए देख रहे हैं और एक नई केमिस्ट्री भी. एनआरजी की ये एनर्जी भारत और अमेरिका के बीच बढ़ती सिनर्जी की गवाह है. मिस्टर प्रेसिडेंट, मैं चाहूंगा कि आप सब परिवार भारत आए. हम दोनों की ये दोस्ती भारत अमेरिका के शेयर्ड ड्रीम्स और वाइब्रेंट फ्यूचर्स को नई ऊंचाई देगी.
The Prime Minister said, a new India is emerging and the country is not only changing but taking on challenges and moving ahead on its mission towards a $5 trillion economy.
भारत ने $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी के लिए कमर कसी है. हम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इन्वेस्टमेंट और एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ाने पर जोर दे रहे हैं. हम पीपल फ्रेंडली, डेवलपमेंट फ्रेंडली और इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेंडली माहौल बनाते हुए आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. हम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर 100 लाख करोड़ रुपए, करीब करीब $1.3 ट्रिलियन खर्च करने वाले हैं.
Addressing the event, President Trump said they are working to eradicate radical Islamic terrorism.
We're looking forward to concluding several new defense deals very soon. There are a lot of them in the works. Today we honor all of the brave American and Indian military service members who work together to safeguard our freedom. We stand proudly in defense of liberty, and we are committed to protecting innocent civilians from the threat of radical Islamic terrorism. Both India and the United States also understand that to keep our communities safe, we must protect our borders.
Mr. Trump announced that the first ever Tri-Services exercise will be held in November. Mr. Trump praised the Modi government's economic reforms and said these reforms have lifted nearly 300 million people out of poverty. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi introduced President Trump to the Indian Americans at the mega event as a very special person whose presence at the event signals that India has a true friend at the White House. The United States President reciprocated by replying in equal measure.
In my campaign for president, I promised all of that. If we were elected, India would have a true and great friend in the White House. And I can tell you, you have never had a better friend as president than President Donald Trump.
The addresses were marked by warmth, hugs and handshakes, reflecting the bonhomie between the two leaders. It had its own share of wow moments, like Prime Minister Modi saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar." At the end of the address, both leaders went together hand in hand on a victory round of the stadium. It is for the first time that a foreign leader addressed such a huge gathering on U.S. soil. The Howdy Modi event was organized by the Texas India Forum at the NRG Stadium with the theme Shared Dreams, Bright Future. Teenage singing prodigy Sparsh Shah participated in the special cultural program to reflect the US-India cultural ties at the Howdy Modi Shared Dreams, Bright Future community event. The 90-minute program, Woven the Indian-American Story, had a music, dance and multimedia show. Our correspondent covering the event reports that the NRG Stadium was packed to capacity amidst chanting of Bharat Mata Ki Jai. After the Howdy Modi event, the Prime Minister unveiled the plaque at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Eternal Gandhi Museum in Houston. He also inaugurated the Gujarati Samaj Houston Event Center and the Sri Siddhi Vinayak Temple in Houston. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in New York on the second leg of his U.S. visit. He will address the 74th session of the UNGA and will participate in other multilateral and bilateral engagements. He will attend the Climate Action Summit at the UN headquarters and will address a high-level meeting on universal health coverage. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the Gandhi Solar Park at the UN headquarters and the Gandhi Peace Garden. A top India-centric strategic and advocacy group and U.S. mainstream media have welcomed the joint address by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and U.S. President Donald Trump in Houston. President of the U.S.-India Strategic and Partnership Forum, Mukesh Aghi, said that the joint address was a triumphant moment for India-U.S. bilateral ties. The Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post and New York Times have published reports on the Houston event in detail. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Voting is taking place for assembly by-elections to one seat each in Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala and Tripura today. The seats are Dantewada in Chhattisgarh, Hamirpur in UP, Pala in Kerala and Badarghat in Tripura. Polling began at 7 a.m. in all constituencies and will conclude at 6 p.m. in Hamirpur and Pala and at 3 p.m. in Dantewada, which is a Maoist-affected district. Chief Electoral Officer of Chhattisgarh, Subrat Sahu, said that elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure peaceful polling. The by-poll was necessitated following the death of BJP legislator Bhima Mandavi. In Hamirpur, the by-election was necessitated due to disqualification of sitting Bharatiya Janata Party MLA Ashok Kumar Singh Chandel following his conviction in a murder case. In Pala, the by-poll was necessitated due to the death of Kerala Congress M Supremo K.M. Mani. Uttar Pradesh is celebrating the first anniversary of the Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana as Ayushman Bharat Day today. Our Lucknow correspondent reports that state government is going to celebrate the day on a large scale. More from our correspondent.
State government is going to celebrate the first anniversary of PM Jan Arogya Yojana on a large scale. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will felicitate the beneficiaries and volunteers called Ayushman Mitra in a function in Lucknow. In almost every district, functions will be organized in which union ministers, state ministers and local MPs will take part. The state is celebrating Ayushman Bharat fortnight from 15th September to 2nd October. More than 36 lakh golden cards have been issued in last 1 year under the scheme in state, and claim of more than 143 crores are settled. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its weekly bilingual live phone-in program, Public Speak Tonight, will bring you a discussion on the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. The 7th meeting of the UAE-India High-Level Joint Task Force on Investments was held yesterday in Abu Dhabi to review and maintain the significant progress made in enhancing bilateral trade and investment between the two countries. The meeting was co-chaired by Piyush Goyal, Minister of Railways and Commerce and Industry, and Sheikh Hamid bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Chairman of the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince's Court. Commenting on the 7th meeting of the task force, Mr. Goyal said the UAE-India High-Level Joint Task Force on Investments is an important pillar of the deep economic relations between the two countries. In cricket, South Africa beat India by 9 wickets in the third and final T20 International at Bengaluru last night. Riding on skipper Quinton de Kock's unbeaten 79 off 52 balls, the Proteas managed to level the series. Batting first at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium, India made 134 for 9 on a batting-friendly track with opener Shikhar Dhawan scoring 36. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Abhishek Mukhopadhyay.
Thank you, Gulmala. The historic joint address by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump at the Howdy Modi event at Houston dominate the headlines. Modi, Trump, Texas, Jugalbandi wows all. Headlines at Times of India. We will fight terror jointly, reports the Mail today. We will build a new Kashmir, says Prime Minister, reads the top headline in the Hindustan Times. The big ticket tax reforms announced by the Finance Minister also extensively covered. The Economic Times writes, 2 days after announcing sweeping corporate tax reforms, Nirmala Sitharaman says lower tax rates are here to stay. The Hindustan Times says tax cuts will attract investors looking to shift from China. And with that, it's back to you, Gunmala.
Thank you, Abhishek. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives clarion call for decisive fight against terrorism, says President Trump stands solidly with India in battle against terrorism. Addressing Indian-American community at the Howdy Modi event in Houston, Prime Minister says decision to abrogate Article 370 caused trouble to those who cannot handle their own country. India and the US set to see a new history in the making, says Prime Minister. President Trump lauds Modi government's economic reforms, says the US stands by India as its true friend. First ever Indo-US tri-services exercise to be held in November. And in cricket, South Africa beat India by 9 wickets in final T20 International at Bengaluru. Level 3-match series 1-all. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.